What is happening, lads? Hope you're good. So I am back at the whiteboard, and today's video we are talking all things speed, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is, how to break it down and how to improve it, and also give you some examples of sessions that you can use this week going forward into the off season or into next year. Okay, so you're going to learn loads and loads in this video. It's going to be short and sharp like the last one, just a quick breakdown of what it is and how we can improve it. So what is speed? Speed is essentially how quick we can get from one point to the second point, from A to B. And essentially that's what speed is in a very, very simple way. So there's 4 ways that we can look at improving our speed, okay? And the first thing is going to be technique. So technique is highlighting the fact that speed is just a skill like anything else, like kicking the ball, like passing the ball, like running, like anything else. You need to get technically better to actually improve. And if you just improve your technique, you will start to feel a lot more improvements in your speed. You will start to see improvements in it just by getting more efficient, because you're going to be, whenever we get onto directions of forces, which these two are linked, we'll be able to use our bodies more efficiently to get to position B a lot faster. So working on our technique is the first step. And the way we can do that is just by simply practicing. Just like anything else, if we want to get better, we need to practice. So doing different drills that I'll walk you through now in a few minutes, and also just learning the body positions and creating that awareness, because oftentimes we don't know what we don't know. And you've been running the way you've been running for the last 24 years for me, or whatever it is for yourself that's watching this video. You've been running the way you have. So it's very, very hard to actually change our technique over time. But that will come through practice, and it takes a lot of repetition. It takes a lot of practice to actually change our mechanics in a positive way. So that's the first thing. We need to start with technique, because everything else is built on top of that. If we have poor technique and we have force, direction of force and contact time, then we're still going to be doing it on unshaky foundations, or shaky foundations rather. So we need the technique to provide that stable foundation for everything else. And that's often where we see a lot of injuries coming from. It's because of our technical ability. The second one is we need a high force production. If we can produce more force and put it into the ground, then we're going to propel ourselves further and be able to travel at quicker speeds. So how we improve our force production is simply by strength training. You want to aim for around 2 to 4 sessions per week, 2 at the lower limit, 4 at the upper limit. And essentially just by getting stronger, you're going to be able to put more force into the ground to propel yourself forward. So that's the second thing. 2 very simple ways to improve your speed. Looking at practicing and actually strength training regularly. The third one then gets a little bit more technical, and this is the direction of force. So the way we produce our force, whether it's horizontal, vertical, that all has an impact on our speed and our acceleration or max velocity. So whenever you're accelerating, you want to propel yourselves horizontally more so. So predominantly the forces need to be going horizontally, because you're trying to build up speed. So you're trying to dig yourself out. So your body position is going to be a little bit lower, and you're going to be trying to propel yourself forward. Whereas when you're at max velocity, which is the all-out sprinting and at that top speed, then more of your forces are going to be going vertically, because you're going to be already at top speed, so you're just going to be propelling yourself off the ground up into the air. So there's a big difference there. You need to know, right, okay, so if I want to improve my acceleration, then I need to improve my direction of force going horizontally. If I want to improve my max velocity, I need to improve my direction of force going vertically. So what this means, and that sounds quite complicated, but in a simple terms, okay, well, let's break it down to our gym exercises, what we're doing in the gym. How can I improve my horizontal force production for, say, if I'm working on acceleration? Well, you could do something like a broad jump. So that's just a standing jump, and you're trying to jump horizontally as far as possible. That's going to improve your horizontal force production, which will then transfer into your acceleration. Then, if you want to improve your max velocity, and you're in a max velocity phase, and you want to improve your vertical force production, then you could do something like a stand-in squat jump. So that's going to be just driving the force into the ground and propelling yourselves up vertically. So that will be looking, or that will show you how you can differentiate between horizontal force production and vertical force production, because that's really, really important. So you need to know which one you're going for here. So the last one then, in terms of the 4 characteristics of speed, is going to be the contact time. So generally, whenever we're in an acceleration phase, you're going to have longer contact times because you're going to be trying to push yourself away. You're going to push the ground away from you. You're going to be trying to build up speed. You're going to have to do more work to actually build that speed up. So there's generally going to have longer ground contact times. Alternatively then, whenever you're in max velocity phase, you're going to have shorter ground contact time because you're going to be traveling at a high speed anyway. So it's just going to be pushing yourself off the ground as quick as you can. So that's going to be generally, you're going to be moving at a quicker pace, and therefore the contact time is going to be less. So what we need to differentiate then is, okay, well, we have slow, short stretch cycle and a fast one, okay? So the 2 of these are different, and these are going to be in the form of our plyometrics. So how we can improve our contact times is going to be through our plyometrics in the gym and our jump training. So if we're looking at slow SSC, that's going to be things like box jumps or squat jumps, loaded jumps. That's going to be looking at the slow SSC here. Then we have faster SSC, okay? So that's going to be more things like pogos, more single leg pogos, double leg pogos. All of them will be looking at the fast SSC because we'll be constantly on the ground. There'll be constant forces going through the ground. Whereas in a slow SSC, you're going to be looking at just propelling yourself up really, really fast, but then resetting, and then you'll be going again, okay? So there's a difference between the 2. So if we're, say, in an acceleration phase, you know, okay, well, I want to improve my horizontal force production, and also I want to work on slow SSC, or just going at a slow pace, but also trying to do it 1 rep as hard as possible, and then reset. So the 2 of them are going to be massively different, but again, it's really important that you get a picture across the way here of technique, force, the direction of force, and also the contact time here. So if you improve them 4 areas, then you will start to notice huge improvements in your speed work. Obviously, other things that I've covered before, such as body fat percentage. If you have a lower body fat to lean muscle ratio, that's going to be very beneficial for your speed. So that's another area that I would probably add in over here, because that's really, really important as well. Because if you have a lower body fat percentage, generally that's going to have positive effects on your speed performance. The next part of this is what I want to run through is the 2 sessions here that we can give you now to run with over the next while. So we have 2 phases of speed, which is acceleration and max velocity, as I've talked about before. Acceleration is generally like anywhere from 10 to 30 meters. You're going to be, or from 0 to 30 meters rather, because you're going to be building up speed. Generally, anything after 30 meters will be into max velocity. This is going to vary greatly depending on how fast you can accelerate and how long it takes. But generally, it's anywhere from 0 to 30 to train acceleration, and then 30 on the way to train max velocity. So how I think about speed and coaching a session speed work is going to be, okay, well, we're going to have a proper warm-up, because you cannot go straight into speed work, which is going to be at 100%, and it needs to be at 100% or else you're not training speed. We need to get the body primed for that. We need to get the body warmed up, or else you're putting yourself at a huge risk of injury, because whenever you are working at 100% intensity, the chances go through the roof of injury. So your body needs to be primed for that. So we need to have a good warm-up. I like to use the RAMP, the ramp warm-up style, which means raise, activate, mobilize, and potentiate. Very, very simple. Raise your heart rate, activate the muscles that's going to be used in the session, then mobilize them, and then potentiate them. Okay, so very, very simple. That's the ramp warm-up. Then after that, you want to go into your drills. So again, if we're looking at, okay, acceleration, what are some of them drills? That would be things like wall drills, okay? So that's going to be working on your acceleration positions and making sure that you're getting into them horizontal force producing positions. So I love things like wall drill holes, wall drill switches, 1 tap, 2 tap. All of these things can be used. Also things like, walking sleds. All of these things can really help you to get into that acceleration positions and just get your body aware of them positions. That's the big thing with the drills. Then if we're looking at max velocity, what drills can we use? We can use things like A skips and B skips. These are really good for just teaching the body on how to get into them positions and the sort of angles that we want here in terms of our max velocity phase. So again, it's just the drills are there to create the awareness with the brain and body that, okay, this actually is how we're supposed to be moving in this phase, whether it's in speed work or whether it's in max velocity or acceleration rather. So that's how I'd work it. We go the ramp warm up, then into drills, and then we would go into the session. So the session here on terms of acceleration, we'll be looking at, okay, we have 10 meters, we do 1x4, so 30 seconds rest in between. Generally that'll be a walk back recovery and probably a little bit longer. Then you give yourself after each set, you'd give yourself around 5 minutes to recover between sets. So between set 1 and the second set of 20-meter sprints, give yourself about 5 minutes. There needs to be full recovery in these because, as I said at the start, if you are not going at 100%, then you're not actually training speed, because speed is actually only occurring whenever you're at 100%. That's the definition of it. So we need to give ourselves the full recovery to allow ourselves to actually tap into that 100% mark. So we go in 10 meters, 1x4, then we do 20 meters, 1x4, and then we give ourselves 60 to 90 seconds rest in between the 20 meter accelerations, because they're going to be a little bit more demanding than, let's say, the 10 meters, because it's a longer distance. Then we give ourselves another 5 minutes rest, and then we could look at something like an uphill acceleration. So around 10 meters uphill, we could do them for 1x2 or one set of 2 reps, and give yourselves a little bit longer rest. I like uphill sprinting or uphill acceleration because it forces you into that position of that lean forward, because you have to get up the hill, obviously. So it kind of forces us into them body positions that we would like to be in an acceleration phase. So something like that can be really useful at the end. Again, it's working on technical ability, the technique, but also then working on our direction of forces, because we're trying to lean forward, we're trying to get ourselves into that acceleration position, producing them horizontal forces. So that's really good for acceleration. Max velocity then, very, very simple. We could look at some things like flying 40s and flying 60s. So for an example, I would look at 40 meters, 1x3, give yourselves plenty of rest, 2 to 3 minutes rest in between each rep, and then a 5-minute rest in between the sets. And then you look at a 60 meter, a flying 60, which is 1x3, and then that would give you around 2 to 3 minutes rest as well. So the big thing with all of these, both acceleration and max velocity, is keeping the goal. And that's what I want to leave you on here, because it's a lot. Oftentimes you see people saying, all right, we'll train speed, we'll do a couple of 10 meters, then we'll start going into 40 meters, then we'll go into 100 meters, then we'll go into 200 meters. That's not working speed. That's going to be working hugely different components, different energy systems. Once you go past the 60 meter mark and into over 100 meter mark, you're going to be looking at more anaerobic capacity and phosphocreatine system there. So the big thing here is keeping the goal, keeping the focus on improving our technique, our force production, our direction of force production, and our contact time, and then obviously our body fat percentage. If you do all of that and train in these two systems here, the max velocity and acceleration, then you 100% are going to improve your speed. So hopefully that was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'd much appreciate it. And if you have any questions on any of that, just drop a message below or DM me, or either you can book in for a call with the team and we'll get you sorted. So thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.